Hi, welcome to the podcast. I have a super interesting guest today, Josh Dorfman. He's the CEO of Supercool and Planted. I won't say much about them, but they're really, really interesting sustainability projects. Um, as people know, I have a startup in the fashion e-commerce space, and sustainability in fashion is something that people ask about all the time and search about all the time. And I'm a complete dummy about it. I don't know much about it. For me, if I see something is recycled or it just sounds cool and I buy it, but I don't really know, the process behind it. So just out of curiosity, let's have a conversation and learn. So welcome. So
Thank you, Goose. Great to be here. Very excited.
Tell me about your companies, your 20 years working in this, and then we can dive into the fashion part.
Yeah, perfect. That sounds great. So 2 decades ago, I started my first company. It was an e-commerce company. So this was right around 2004. And I had a clear idea from a sustainability point of view of what I was trying to accomplish. And this has been a through line for the past couple of decades. I wanted to make sustainability feel like it fit the way people live in a contemporary modern world. So I wanted to create an e-commerce company that was going to go find products that were modern, fashionable, well-designed, beautiful, and also be environmentally responsible. So I created this first company called Vivavi, like Viva V, Live Life. Started working with some early eco-fashion designers, started working with some eco-furniture designers, and at the time there was just so much more happening around furniture design and sustainability using it might be recycled steel or reclaimed wood, but really stunning design. And so that's been a focus for me for a very long time. It's just thinking how do we create sustainable products, whether from a business to consumer or business to business, that really fit the way the world works and make it easy for people to say yes because it delivers what they want. Planted, I mentioned, I'm a co-founder, started 4 years ago. That's a really amazing company that I built with two incredible former engineers from SpaceX, which is largely what makes it so amazing, our ability to get a lot done really quickly. We grow this grass that's kind of like bamboo. We do this in North Carolina where we got former tobacco farmers to convert to growing what we call a climate crop. We call it a climate crop because it grows 10 times faster than trees, so it's absorbing carbon. And then what we do is we built a production technology, a factory that is all electric, no smokestack. And we are able to take that grass, slice it, press it, turn it into structural building materials that replace trees in home building in America. And we're working with the largest builder in America today, D.R. Horton, on that. Supercool came out of that. It's a lens looking at innovations like Planted that are really starting to happen across industries. We're going to talk about fashion today, and I've talked to a bunch of fashion CEOs who are doing remarkable work to cut carbon, help their customers either retain margin, capture more customers at a lower customer acquisition cost, increase lifetime value, all by doing what's more sustainable. It's really a remarkable moment. So Supercool tells those stories, goes as a platform to look at what's working out there that's really moving us forward into this age of what I would say is adoption of climate tech and climate innovation and climate design. Not will we figure this out one day? So much has already been figured out. It's now about scaling it up.
So you have a podcast for Supercool. How do they find it? How do our listeners find it?
So
on all the platforms.
I appreciate you asking. Every platform. So if you look up Supercool, Supercool Climate, Supercool Josh Dorfman, you'll find the podcast. We've been doing it for about a year. We've had over 50 some odd really amazing companies, mayors of cities doing incredible work, from Colombia to Ecuador to the UK. Just where there's innovation happening that's scaling, we want to get into that. So we do a weekly newsletter as well. We're getting ready to launch a course called the Climate Adoption Playbook. So for companies that are wanting to figure out how do I actually remove the friction and get my solution into market and actually have the market say yes, we've kind of compiled everything that we've learned from talking to world-class climate companies who are doing it and how they go about it in the most seamless type of way, and apply some lenses, from my career as well.
Great. So like I mentioned before, this is coming from a total dummy in sustainability, and I'm everything you say, I like start getting curious. So I just want to ask you some questions about Planted because it sounds amazing. I thought it was funny that you're using former tobacco growers, like they're redeeming themselves and they're moving into sustainability. I find that amazing. So what is the material like? Is it like a bamboo style? Like how does it look like? What are like
Yeah,
the specs?
it's very interesting. The material itself, or so I should say, the feedstock as we're growing this grass, it does in some respects kind of look like bamboo, in the sense of like you can see a bamboo grove and it can grow to 100 feet in just a matter of months.
Yeah.
This will grow similarly. It's a thinner stalk, and that enables us to use mechanical harvesting equipment rather than having to cut by hand, which is why all the big bamboo plantations are in Asia, Southeast Asia, where it's cheaper to do that. The end material looks like for now, it's like a 4 foot by 8 foot board that it's more like plywood probably for your listeners than anything they may know. In America, it places this like really kind of crappy, mediocre material called oriented strand board. But when you see a house going up, this is what's getting nailed to the 2x4s. These like panels that give a house its structure. A typical house might use 200 to 300 of these panels. We're only 4 years old, but we got this order for 10 million of these panels from this very big home builder, and so we've got traction there. We're going to make the 2x4s as well. Our technology enables us to essentially make anything that's wood is used for, almost anything wood is used for in the built environment today. We can do from this grass. Mass timber, you're starting to see tall skyscrapers made out of wood. We'll get to that too. Yeah, I appreciate you asking. It's an exciting business.
No, I'm just curious. So I imagine it grows much faster than trees. Like, how does it compare price-wise? Is it something that people choose to, they want to save the environment and they choose to use this rather than wood or plywood or whatever, or is it comparable? Like, where is it at the moment?
Yeah, so we're coming to market with this very large home builder, and this contract that we have to fulfill this extremely large order. 10 million panels is about 90,000 homes, about 10 to 15% of the homes built in America in any given year. Like, it's massive for a startup. That contract over time gets us to the place where we are at price, how can I say it? It could be price parity. It might be cheaper. The product is also better. A big issue in home building is for wood is moisture and moisture seeping into the wood during construction. Because if that happens, it can degrade the integrity of the structure, right? And so our material has some really almost like intrinsic moisture resistant characteristics. So there's things about our product that actually make it in many respects superior to what builders build with today. And so the objective is very quickly to be at a price point that the market is willing to accept. Maybe that's price parity. Maybe that's a little bit more. Maybe we bring our prices down and we go lower. But we have control.
Amazing.
It doesn't have to be more. When the only other thing I'll say is when we designed the business, when we incorporated, we really felt like, all right, we're going after this massive, one of the biggest markets on earth. It's a commodity market. The prices are very, very low. Can we win in the field? And we feel like we can because the grass grows so fast, and we can control our supply chain. Grow the grass much closer to where homes are being built, not just having to say, oh, where's the forest? Well, okay, then I guess that's where our material is coming from. And we can site our factory very close to where customers are building, so we can win in the grass, we can win the field, we can win in the supply chain, and we can win in the factory, and that's on cost. The carbon thing, I love it. Our co-founders love it. That's why we started the company. We want to do good for the planet, but you can't sell that to a customer who's building 100,000 homes a year. It has to deliver on everything else that the customer wants.
People see, and part of it is why we're in this situation is because people look at the problem in front of them, right? Like, oh, I just want a house. So if it's 20% cheaper, I might get something that is not great for the environment, but someone else would fix it.
Exactly.
Yeah,
that's reality.
Did you Yeah. Did you go through a process of, because I read a few books that basically try to quantify the problem in different areas. And I don't know, some people go into electric cars, some people go into sustainability in fashion, like we're going to talk a little bit later. Did you go through that process to select this kind of business, or how did it come to you? Like, is it because, oh, this is
No,
one of the biggest
I didn't go through that
opportunities,
process
or
at all.
what, was it like a data-centric process? How did that happen?
No, I think it was much more of a more classic entrepreneurial approach where I had a furniture company, and during COVID, again, I was trying to do everything as sustainable as possible. I was in North Carolina, former furniture making capital of the world, and I just couldn't get material. And the material that I was getting was really poor in quality. Quality was going down, price was going up. I just kept thinking more and more about material and thinking, there's got to be something better than trees. There's got to be something that can grow faster than trees. There's got to be a different supply chain. I met my first co-founder from SpaceX, and he had a little manufacturing company. He had left SpaceX. He had moved to North Carolina. And I'm, complaining about materials. And he says, oh, well, I have, he's like, what would you use? And I was like, I have no idea. Maybe hemp, maybe bamboo. I don't know. And he's like, well, I've got 6 trash bags of hemp in my garage. And I didn't even know this guy. Someone just was like, yeah, you guys should talk.
Nice.
And I was like, what? Who are you? And he's like, I just moved here. I spent 8 years at SpaceX. I'm like, you have 6 trash bags of hemp? I'm like, here's what we should do. I'm going to close my company. You should close your company. Let's start a company together, a materials company. And can you get more SpaceX engineers to move to North Carolina? And he's like,
nice.
Yeah, I think I could do that. And so it was really about personal pain and thinking like, I'm interested in materials. I want a better material. I want a more sustainable material. And then it became very clear. Oh yeah, carbon removal. This is a bit like, right? But it wasn't like, this sector, this sector, this sector. Where should we go? No, it was much more from the gut,
way,
right? From the gut.
Yeah. That's very cool. So you mentioned that you talk to a lot of CEOs and the people in the fashion industry. I'd like to get your thoughts on where is the industry in terms of sustainability, how evolved, how big is the problem, what are cool things that are happening that people should know about? Because I understand your podcast is about that in a way, just bringing the light to things that are real, that are available now.
Starting with how big the problem is. The unfortunate situation, I just was researching this a couple of weeks ago. The unfortunate situation is I don't think anybody knows how big the problem is. And what's sad, Gus, and I've seen this for years in doing research, is when you can look on the United Nations Environment Program website, and they'll say, oh, climate fashion responsible for 8% of emissions or some number, and then they'll have a link, and then it will link to an article from the BBC, and that seems credible, and then you follow the link from the BBC, and you get to basically a dead link, and it's like, wait, what? Does anybody actually know? That's problematic. The reality is it's clearly big, and there's clearly waste, and the fashion industry itself is not doing itself any favors because it's the overall. I think the fashion industry, like a lot of industries, even if there's good intentions, it's really difficult to operationalize those intentions. I've seen some companies that I think are doing things in a very innovative way. Two jumped to mind as I was getting ready to talk to you, thinking about conversations I've had. I talked to this company called Trove. Trove is a really interesting company. It's now run by this guy, Terry Boyle, who is the CEO of Nordstrom Rack. So he came from discount, mainstream fashion, but he was buddies with the guys who started Trove. Trove does
they
power
the
resale.
We have a bit of a lag,
exactly.
But yeah.
I was like, here. I was like, hey, do you want to smoke a cigarette? And he was like, no, I just quit. No, but what Trove does is they're taking resale, you can buy clothes off eBay or Poshmark or all these other websites, and they're helping brands, the biggest brands in the world, bring that back into their own branded environment. So the most famous example probably is if you go on Patagonia.com and you see what's called worn wear, customers can send back used clothing to Patagonia Trove is the back-end technology that uses also some AI to actually identify, okay, this is a certain type of shirt, this is the certain type of quality. We can identify it, we can sort it, we can do the back-end logistics, we can plug into, whether it's Trove or Michael Kors or Steve Madden or Carhartt. They're working with tons and tons of brands. They just expanded into Europe. And when you go on to, I'll stay with Patagonia now. If you go on to Patagonia.com today and you want to buy, one of their famous fleeces or puffer jackets or whatever, you'll see on the same page, you'll see the new options, and then you'll see an option to buy used. And that is powered by Trove. And what they're enabling is all of this circular economy, right? All these goods that are people don't want anymore, they can sell back to the company. Usually they get something, the company gets it for a low price, right? So when they go resell it, even though they're selling at a discount, the margins are great for the company. It's also, they find the data is that buying used typically is like the customers are over, sometimes 50 to 80% new customers to the brand. So it's a very excellent way to get customer acquisition at a very low cost. And people love the fact that they're offering used. It enhances lifetime value. And so what Terry said to me, he's like, look, Trove is, when we go pitch this to the world's biggest brands, we lead with margin, not mission. Because if we can convince these customers, these brands, this is going to be good for their business. Once it's working, everybody celebrates sustainability, right? But nobody celebrates sustainability if it doesn't actually work and integrate and seamless. As a tech
charity,
resale and re-commerce, that is really, it's starting to hit a new level, because when you're buying from a brand itself, the trust level goes up. It's like buying certified pre-owned car from Mercedes as opposed to buying a used Mercedes off of a secondhand store, right? Your confidence level is much higher in the product. I also recently talked to this company that's really exploding here in the U.S. called Faherty, Faherty, F-A-H-E-R-T-Y, Faherty Clothing. They started about 12 years ago. They now have 80 stores. They're basically in every major market. Their first store was in Malibu. They're now everywhere. It's like a surf-inspired, very American lifestyle type brand, doing hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue, getting ready to expand internationally. And what's so cool about this company, I talked to Mike Faherty, one of the brothers two brothers co-founded this. He's the designer. He came from Ralph Lauren, so he has this very American kind of, it's like a real sort of American sensibility to the brand, just from a fashion perspective. They're just like, we're just going to do things responsibly. So of course we're going to go use regenerative organic cotton from farmers that we've identified in the Amazon, because he's like, I want the purest material, right? I don't want crap in my materials. I want pure, because this brand is all about like highest quality materials, and that's softest, best. That's what we're going to build our brand on. And so sustainability is integrated into what they do. And but then they go partner with like the New York Knicks and the Los Angeles Lakers, and they have this very like cool mainstream brand. Consumers don't even necessarily. They may not even know. And so that's a way to like get to scale where the supply chain on the back end is all moving in a more sustainable direction. Consumers on the front end are just buying what they want. They're getting sustainability too. So I'm seeing more of that. The last thing I'll say is I've seen this company, EcoNeil. EcoNeil is a material made from like regenerative nylon that can come from fishing nets and like old nylon stuff that all gets like sorted by this company called Aquafil. And you're starting to see that material, EcoNeil, so this nylon product, showing up in lines from Gucci and Prada and lots and lots of even high-end brands that are moving in this direction. Now, sometimes this is just a capsule collection. We want to see it go more mainstream, broader. But if you can change materials in the fashion industry, you change the industry, because everything touches materials, right? Supply chain, operations, branding, marketing. The whole company has to reorient towards sustainability, which is different than just like, we plant a tree when you buy something on our website, which is like just bolted on. It's not sustainability. Right. It's why, I mean, it means nothing. It really means nothing.
I like that you're seeing examples of, it makes business sense. It's something people want to buy. it's just done like in the right way from the beginning. That's amazing. Cool. We're running out of time, so I apologize for the transition. But yeah, thank you so much for your time. I'm sure we could talk for hours. I just happen to have a lot of meetings today. But yeah, amazing. Thank you so much, and everyone go and look for Supercool and Planted, and you can hear the long versions of these stories. These are just like highlights. So thank you so much, Josh.
Yeah, thank you, Goose. Great to have a chance to talk with you.
Thank you. Short and sweet. See ya.